You sure you don't want to have one of our dogs take a look at you, Rogers? I'm fine, Fury. I've been hit by the Hulk. This is nothing. I just want some answers for a change. Someone's been pulling my strings, and I don't like it one bit. I might be able to help you there a little. You said Crossbone mentioned something about a Russian? Yeah. Well, it took some leverage, but I finally got Interpol to cough up an ID on that dead soldier we found in London. Turns out he was part of a whole regiment of ex-Soviet soldiers that fell off the map in the mid-90s, along with their general, Alexander Lukin. Name ring any bells? Should it? Probably not. Lukin was career military, major Cold War player. Apparently didn't like all the changes after the collapse, so he and his men went rogue. The next we see him is 3 years ago, as the head of an international corporation with offices in every major metropolitan center in the civilized world. And you think this is the man who killed Skull? Who had us running blind? Why? Who can say? Power? Isn't that what most of them are about? No, this is personal. You saw those graves in Arlington? That was meant for me. My file on Lucan is thin, Steve. Most of what I got is recent, just since the Kronos Corporation emerged. Even the KGB didn't keep tabs on him. Apparently, he was a protege of one of their big mucky mucks, some guy named Karpov. Vasily Karpov? Think so, yeah. Wait, did you just say the Kronos Corporation? What is it? Kronos was a small village in Russia, not too far from Stalingrad. Never heard of the place. You wouldn't have. It's not there anymore. But that's where I last saw Vasily Karpov. Now! Go, go! An ambush! Behind us! Fast, fast! Cap! Incoming! Danka! Fire in the hole! Panzer's out for the count. How did we do? All aces, Cap. Not so much as a scratch, too. Hey! We don't execute prisoners, you friggin'... Easy, Bucky. Easy. Explain yourself. Right now, soldier. This man was a cousin to me. He brought shame on our country to fight for our enemy. He was no longer Russian. So you just shoot him in the head? Let it go, Bucky. This isn't what we're here for. Let's just make sure we get at least one prisoner back to the camp. The Hueys, short for Hilfswillige, were volunteer soldiers, Russian prisoners or deserters, fighting alongside the Nazis, against their own people. It was just one part of what made the Russians' front uglier than what we were used to. The snow and ice were another part. We were camped 10 miles west of Kalag, which the Russians had recently retaken, and Stalin's forces were about to launch Operation Uranus to trap the entire Nazi invasion in for the winter, with no supply lines and no way home. But word had leaked that the Germans had some kind of secret superweapon nearby that they were waiting to spring. The invaders had been sent in to find out what this weapon was, and to make sure it didn't stop the Russian op from going off as planned. Colonel Vasily Karpov was the Russian officer in charge of our mission, and I didn't like him. Tell us where the weapon is, Nazi vermin, and I'll stop him before he shows you your insides. Please, no, please, no, I will tell you what I know. Of course you will. They always do, don't they, comrade captain? I wouldn't know. Any word, Cap? Yeah, Karpov's tactics aren't to my taste, but he's getting results. Our target is a small village named Kronos, a few clicks north of here. The Nazis have control of the area, and whatever this weapon is being heavily guarded. By some of our kind, you mean? The soldier hadn't seen anything firsthand, Jim. He's just repeating rumors. But it sounds like there's at least one Nazi there who can fly. It's good then that we've got 3 flyers to bring him down. I'm counting on that. But how are you holding up with this weather, Namor? Tauro's been shivering all day. It's cold as hell, sure, but it won't keep us out of the air. Good to hear. Now get some rest while you can. We hit Kronos an hour before dawn. But I never could sleep the night before a mission, and apparently I wasn't the only one. Captain, Colonel, I see you are more like me than perhaps you think. If you say so. You don't like our ways. How easy it is for you to judge us. When Nazi control half of your Washington D.C., when they turn your own brothers against you, then you can judge. Well, maybe if your leader hadn't been so obliging when they invaded Poland, you wouldn't have the wolves at your door like this. So, your men will be ready for what comes. Much depends on it. We'll be ready. You just remember, you may be in charge here, but if you want to live to see the sunset, you'll follow my orders tomorrow. So, the morning found us with Karpov's handicapped NKVD squad hiding on the outskirts of Kronos, while our advance scout cleared the way. Which is the real secret of what Bucky was. The official story said he was a symbol to counter the rise of the Hitler Youth. And there was some truth to that, but like all things in war, there was a darker truth underneath. Bucky did the things I couldn't. I was the icon, I wore the flag, but while I gave speeches to troops in trenches, he was doing what he'd been trained to do, and he was highly trained. He wouldn't been out there with us if he wasn't. Blue Jay to Eagle, we are go for launch. With the perimeter guard out, we should have been able to waltz right in, but we didn't get that lucky. No! Hold your fire, damn it! Suddenly the alarm is raised, and it all goes to hell. It's almost like they were expecting us. Nazis start crawling out of the woodwork, along with something far worse. Masterman, Hitler's personal super soldier. Who dares to disturb my peace? We'd been expecting him, or something like him, of course. Torch! Namor! Now! We face threats like this all the time. I'll turn you swine into mice meat. But I can only imagine what this kind of combat looked like to the Russians. Keep your men back, Karpov! Protect the villagers! Keep them safe! They'd been fighting a war of attrition over each block of Stalingrad and every acre of their countryside. And now there were men doing battle in the sky above them, men on fire. Finding the secret weapon wasn't a problem. We just looked for where the Nazi guard were heaviest in number and made for that. Bucky! Machine gun! 12 o'clock! Take it! Careful, Buck. We don't know what's... No! What the hell is in there? Whoa, Cap! Look! I had a few seconds to survey the damage the Nazi superweapon had done, to realize what it would probably do to anything else that got in his way. And then it was back with a vengeance. Move! Now! Go! 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 Its beam tore through houses and people indiscriminately. And through the flames, I saw the ringleader of this little band of terror, the Red Skull, behind the controls. I'd realized later he was setting the self-destruct on the device, knowing he was outnumbered and his cause was lost. So he was creating the biggest distraction he could to cover his escape. Skull, damn his eyes. Cap, let him run! We gotta help these people! Which is exactly what the Skull knew we'd do. Namor and the Torches broke off their battle with Masterman to help get the fire under control, and he and the Red Skull disappeared. While we tried to stop Kronos from burning to the ground, the Torch absorbed as much of the fire as he could, and he and Toro melted the snow in the sky into hard rainfall. But it was too far gone. The fire had spread too quickly. Karpov, though, was less worried about the innocent villagers than he was about what the Skull had left behind. Get it out of there now! We're taking this machine back to Stalingrad to use it on its makers. And And when the Skull's booby-trapped went off, his men burned along with the Nazi weapon. Damn you, you fool! Hasn't there been enough death today? You do not understand. You cannot. You and the Germans, you have your super soldiers, your secret weapons. But we Russians, we have nothing but our winters. We were in the air an hour later, on our way back to England, to make a report and try to pick up the Skull's trail. The last I saw of Vasily Karpov, he was wandering through what was left of Kronos, surveying the damage I'm sure he blamed on me. Mama! Mama! No! Don't be dead, Mama! Please, don't be dead! You boy, come away from there. But my Mama... It's too late for her, boy. Too late for this village. But it's not too late for your mother Russia. What's your name, boy? Alec! You come with me, Alec. I'll take you back to Stalingrad and show you what it truly means to be Russian. You've already learned the hardest part. So, what are you thinking? I don't know. Could all this, the Skull's death, the cube, be some kind of long-distance revenge of Karpov's? I don't think so, Steve. Karpov died nearly 20 years ago, while you were still on ice. And remember, he was high-ranking KGB, so he'd probably heard through one source or another that you died in 45. Huh, yeah, that. What's wrong? Not sure. One thing I haven't mentioned yet. Something's messing with my mind, my memories. It may be the cube, I'm not sure. But that's one reason I contacted you tonight. I need to transport somewhere. I need to see if my reality and my memories match up or not. Of course, I'll send an order to the flight deck right now. Care to tell me where you're headed? Actually, no I don't. You rang? Yeah, call down to flight deck 1 and tell him to give Rogers a hyperjet. Take him wherever he needs to go. And then see why Agent 13 hasn't called in a progress report yet. Yes, sir. Is there something else, Teresa? Did you show him the file? Croesus, aren't you getting enough gossip, listening in on my private line? Apparently not, sir. No, I didn't show him the file. I want to be 100% sure about this before I destroy his world. If that's okay with you.